Well, let's start as we always do then with the question in your mind, with all the life experience that you've had.
Yeah.
What is high performance?
Great question. I'll be ready for this one. Obviously, it means something different to everyone, depending on what you do as well, what your morals are, etc., etc. But for me, high performance is whatever you choose to do and apply your life to, doing it to the best of your ability, doing it to the optimum. So that could be anything. That can be, if you feel like you're a people person and you want to communicate with people, that's communicating with people to the highest of your ability, learning maybe a little bit of someone's culture. So when you go into a conversation, you can break that ice and make them feel comfortable. That's a great skill for a people person. Obviously, I'm a rapper. For me, it'd be being able to produce my own music, write my own lyrics, and also go out on stage and perform it to the best of my ability. That's like those three, tackling those to the optimum is me being high performance. An artist might be working on different mediums, so you can craft something with your hand, you can paint, but you can also maybe take digital pictures. I don't know. For me, it's like working to the best of your ability in whatever your craft is. That would be my answer.
And here is the challenge for a lot of people, and this is a question that comes into us an awful lot.
Yep.
How do I know what my best is? How do I know I'm working to my peak? I mean, maybe you can take us back to before you got the recognition.
Yeah.
Because actually the recognition gives you the answers quite often.
Yep.
How did you know back then that you were working to the very best of your ability?
Cool. That's quite a hard question, that one. I feel like really, honestly, you can't really ever know, but you have an idea, you know what I'm saying? You have a feeling. You know when you've reached your maximum. For me, it was before I had any recognition, I was just trying to get on radio so people could hear me, because I felt like I have this talent. The only problem is no one can hear me. Like no one knows that I exist. So as long as I get people to hear it, I'll be able to win people over. That was my idea. So I was literally, I had a 9 to 5. I worked at a restaurant in central London, and I never wanted to like put any stress on my mum. My mum was doing the most to like support me. She was really, really helpful. I told her I wanted to take a year out of uni to pursue rap. She was okay with it. She said, look, you can have a year. If you make it within a year, great, I'm happy for you. If not, I need you to obviously go back or get a job to support the family, which I think is more than anyone can ask for. But I went and got this 9 to 5, and it was in central London, and I never had, not giving you a sob story by the way, just telling you how it was. I never really had enough money to complete everything I needed to do, so I couldn't like get lunch and get the tube fare and pay for my travel to radio and obviously get new clothes and stuff. I couldn't do all of it and give my mum money for rent. There wasn't enough money. So I ended up borrowing money off my mum at the start of the month when I started my job and spending more than I earned back at the end of the month, which just left me in this feeling of like despair, because I was like, how do I get out of this loop? I was finishing work at about 2 a.m. and then making my way either walking home to Ladbroke Grove, which is very far, or I was travelling to Enfield from Covent Garden to get on radio at like 2 a.m. So that for me, that's doing the best I can do. I can't do anything physically more to get on radio. Like I'm making the journey, skipping through train barriers and jumping on the back of buses to make it happen, to get to North London, to get on radio in the hope that someone's going to hear me, because I feel like it's going to work out in the end. So for me, that's really like, you have to apply yourself. And I feel like once you tell your mind, I want to achieve this, you start subconsciously looking for different ways that you can achieve it. You look for the roots and you start seeing patterns and paths and thinking, hey, maybe I can get in here, maybe I can have this conversation, and just thinking about where things will lead to. So that's really, I was doing the most I could do. So yeah, man.
So can I ask you then, who are we talking to today? Is it Shay or is it AJ?
That's another interesting question. You're talking to Shay right now, but I'm aware that AJ Tracey is part of who I am. You know what I'm saying? It's not all of who I am, but it is part of who I am. So I don't find it hard to separate, I'll be honest. I can easily turn off the music stuff and just talk about football or whatever I want to talk about. But I'm aware that it's a part of who I am. So for me to completely like lock it away whenever I have conversations seems a bit odd, because that's like locking away a part of yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I do shows and stuff, I do lock away Shay, because I feel like a lot of people have, saved up their money to come see me, beg their mum for mums to get this ticket to this show, and I owe it to them to give my best performance. So I might be, can I swear?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I might be pissed off, but I might be pissed off before the show, and I'll put a mask on and be like, forget that, it's my personal life. Let me give this show to the best of my ability, and when I come off stage, I'll be pissed again, it's fine. But it's really essential for me to lock into who I am as AJ Tracey and give, again, high performance while I'm on stage. When I come off, I can deal with real life afterwards.
So that story you were telling us then about, say, working in central London and walking back to Ladbroke Grove to save money.
Yeah.
Who was that then? Was that Shay?
That was Shay, yeah. I don't think AJ Tracey existed at that point, I'll be honest. It's like that was an ideology that I wanted to be, but it didn't really exist yet. It's like something that I was waiting to achieve, but I hadn't made it happen yet. So that was definitely Shay. That was like the transformation process, a necessary step to get to AJ Tracey for me personally.
So one of the comments that you've made as well then is that that you are inherently suspicious of people.
Yeah, I think so.
So is that AJ Tracey being suspicious or is that Shay?
That's AJ Tracey being suspicious, I'll be honest. Because I feel like once you get into a high position of anything, whenever you achieve anything, you have to be suspicious. That's like, I don't think that's unfair to say. I think not being suspicious is being naive, because there's going to be people who want things off you.
Yep.
Or I don't have to give you like the details, you know already, but just, it's good to be cautious. I'll say suspicious is a bit harsh, sounds a bit dark, but cautious is definitely something you need to be. I think I give everyone a chance. And they say, I give them enough rope, and if they want to hang themselves with it, that's their business. I won't speak to them anymore, or I'll cut them off. I'll avoid certain interactions that I know are only for monetary gain, or they want to get something out of me. And yeah, man, I think being cautious is needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's stay in this place then. Let's talk about the mindset that you do need to be successful in the world that you're in.
Yeah.
Being in the public eye is not normal.
Okay.
And it isn't easy. So how big a role does a positive mindset play in your life? And I might have read this wrong, but I kind of, even in the short time we spent together, I kind of get the impression that this is maybe something that you've had to learn. There was maybe a point in your life where you thought, why me?
Yeah,
and now you're thinking, why not me?
Yeah.
Why not me?
Yeah, 100%, man. I think you're spot on there, to be honest. Maintaining a positive mindset. Man, I think when I was younger and everything was moving really quickly, I didn't really have a chance to think about being positive. I was kind of ignoring the mental side of how I feel and just cracking on with my work, because it might end at any moment. So let me get the most out of it now, and we can focus on how I feel about it afterwards. But as I got older, I was like, whenever I feel down, whenever I feel anxious, nervous, not unsure of myself, no one else is going to give me the confidence apart from me. It's really nice when your mum says, you're doing great. Of course, I love it. But also, like, thanks, mum. But I have to tell myself I'm doing well and I'm going to achieve that, or no one else is going to give me that confidence. You have to instill it in yourself.
How do you do that?
How do you do that? I'll be honest with you, bro. I believe in myself. Like, I can't, it's hard to get across, because I understand some people don't have the inherent confidence. But for me, just from the beginning, it might be from my mum always supporting me. But I've always felt like whatever I need to achieve, I'm going to achieve it. I'm not sure how, but I'm definitely going to make it work. And when I was younger, I remember saying to my mum, I'm going to be a rapper. And she was kind of like, I'm happy for you. I hope you do, but you might not. So maybe focus on a plan B. And I just said, no, trust me. I'm going to be a rapper. I'm going to make £1 million. We're going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. Trust me. She's like, well, good luck. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I actually came back to my mum one day. I said to her, look, I'm a rapper. I made £1 million. What did I tell you? And she was like, yeah, to be fair. Because I feel like when you program it into your mind, like I was saying before, you find the route to do it. That's what it is.
So tell us then, there's lots of parents that'll listen to this, and Shay. So what advice would you give to a parent whose child comes to them with this grand ambition of whether it's to be a footballer or to be a rapper or to make the millions, however they do it? What helped you in terms of the messaging that you got from your mum?
I think it's just about support and being loved, to be honest. I think once a parent loves you genuinely, regardless, and they support you and say, look, obviously I'm not going to let you just jump off a cliff, but if you want to give it a shot. And my mum knew I could rap. She was like, she's not deaf. She used to be a DJ. She knows I can rap. But it's just, I think she was unsure of whether I can get people to listen to my rap, which is the same thing that I was unsure about.
Yep.
So for me, it was like my mum was just being, hey, if you want to give this a shot, you can give it a shot, but it's applying logic to how much you love someone. So it's like, I'm going to give you this chance to do it, but I'm maybe going to give you a time limit, or maybe I'm going to give you a certain amount of support, and I'm going to say, hey, maybe we should switch our focus to something else. Because you don't want to say to your son or daughter, hey, go and try whatever you want to try, and they're trying for years and years and years, and then they miss the opportunity to maybe gain other skills, and they're left in this position of, mum or dad, you told me to go for it, and now I have nothing. Of course. So maybe I would say, wholeheartedly support someone, but maybe, put a time limit on it, or put certain objectives.
So she
there.
did that with you, didn't she?
Yeah, she said, I'll give you a year. Yeah. So I'll give you a year. You can take a year off uni. Because, you can take a break out of uni after you qualify for your first year. You can take a gap year and come back and finish off. So she was like, cool, finish the year, get your certificate, take a year off. And if you achieve whatever you want to achieve, you feel like you're in a position to make this a career at the end of the year, then go for it. And if not, go back to uni or get a job, which is fair enough. So opinion.
What did that do for you then? So when your mums give you that space and that deadline, what was the mental effect that had on you?
The mental effect from that was basically me knowing, all right, cool, now I can't squander my time here. I have a year, so I have to make it work within a year. or this is pretty much done, because I don't have any money. So my mum supporting me is a blessing, and it's something that I acknowledged a lot of my peers and friends didn't have a chance to do anything like that. Your mum telling you, I'm going to fully support you, because I have a brother as well, and she's a single mum. So her saying, I'm going to fully support you for a year. You don't have to do any sort of income for you to achieve this goal. That's like, it's priceless. That's a risk my mum took on me, and that's out of love and confidence in her son. So I feel like that did to me, that was like, look, I don't want to waste this time. My mum's giving me a golden opportunity. It'd be like a shame for me to waste this. And like I said, I was trying to go radio. I was trying to, I was meeting people who made music, made beats, and trying to network. And here's a great story. I literally released a song on SoundCloud, and I said to my friends, I'm like, cool, I'm going to make this song go wild. Like, I'm going to make this one go crazy. I'm going to manufacture it. The song was good anyway. It has to be good, otherwise no one's going to listen. Yeah. But I had a plan, I had a blueprint. It was cool. I'm going to go on Twitter. I was new to Twitter. I didn't have any followers or anything. I'm going to look at, Radio 1, BBC, ITV, everyone. I'm going to go on all the big media outlets in the UK. I'm going to search who works for them, like put their names in. I'm going to get their emails, and I'm going to send this track to everyone. I'm just going to bombard everyone with a track. And the thing is, I'm quite well spoken, so the way I introed myself was like, hey, my name's da-da-da-da, I'm from da-da-da, this is a track, don't worry about it if you ain't got time, but if you do, give it a listen, you might like it. And one of the people on that list, Cyan Anderson from BBC, from One Extra, she heard the song, she liked it. So she was like, yeah, this is fire, I like this is hard. And for me, I was like, yes, one of them, you know what I'm saying?
Now, the interesting bit for that is, how many emails did you send to get that one response?
A lot of emails, bro. Right, I sent a lot of emails. Yeah. But that's how life goes. You have to try. If you send 10 emails and you get no responses, it's like, and you say, oh, yeah, I did my best. That's not doing your best. Like what you guys asked me earlier, that isn't doing your best. That's not doing everything you can to achieve something. I sat down and I compiled genuinely over 100 different emails of people I've never met or heard of. They don't know me. And I'm just like, one of these people surely is like a tastemaker. These music people, one of them at least is going to think this is a good song. Because I thought it was a good song. So when Cyan said it was a good song, and she's very important, you know what I'm saying? And what she does, she's a massive name. So when she said this is a good song, I was like, I knew it was a good song. So then it doubled up my confidence. Now I'm a bit more confident, because what I thought someone else thinks that I have no interaction with. So she started a lot of her sets on One Extra the following couple of weeks with that song. She started it with that song. She's like, yo, this is AJ Tracey from Labrador, da-da-da-da. And then people started tweeting me. I started getting followers, and people were like, oh, this kid's quite hard. Who is this? And then, it just started going from there. I'll be honest. I started emailing other radio stations, and I've heard you over there. And it's like a chain effect.
You know what I love about that story as well is that until that moment when you got played on One Extra, there was numerous opportunities to quit.
Yes, 100%.
And not only that, you were seeing people who were in your group going off and flying, and you would have been thinking, hold on, I know I've got the talent, I know I'm working to my absolute maximum, yet no one's seen me, no one knows of me, I'm having to jump on the back of a bus without paying because I haven't got the money, whereas a guy who I was running around with 6 months ago is suddenly huge flying, and he's got a car and all the other things. And I think that is just something we should talk about for a minute, about not sort of being derailed too early, understanding that if everything that's worth having at one point will feel like a failure.
100%. I think, hate to bring everything back into football, but I got to give one of these examples. So, when you hear a young player, there's a 20-year-old player somewhere, he's doing really well, he just had his breakout season, he's going crazy in Germany or somewhere, and all the big clubs are trying to buy him. And he says, no, I'm not coming to any of these big clubs. Thank you, Real Madrid, thanks, Man City, but I'm going to stay here. It's good for my development. I love that. That, to me, says you are a confident person, and you're going to be someone who's at least looking to be a high-performance individual, because you believe that me staying here and carrying on what I'm building here, there'll be a point in the future when I can go over there and really be ready for it. So another example is someone I know was booked for a festival. When he got signed to a record label, sometimes there's things called bolt-on deals. They say we'll sign you and then we'll bolt on that you can do this festival. We will give you this and this and this and this. So they were put onto a festival that was main stage, pretty big, UK festival, and they weren't ready for it. They didn't have any big songs, and they had just come straight out the gate. They were good, really good at rapping, but they were brand new. They did the show, it didn't go too well. But the problem is, when I looked at that, before they even did the show, I said, if that was me, I would never have agreed to that, because I'm not ready for that stage. For you to go and do a stage that's bigger than you, it can be disastrous, honestly, really detrimental to your career. Much like a young footballer leaving to a big club and you wasn't ready.
Where's that come from then, that laser sharp focus of not just dealing with today, but also seeing, hold on, if I make this decision, in 2 months this happens, and in 6 months this happens, and in a year I'm gone, I'm finished.
It's part of the game. You just have to know it. I'll be honest, it's something that I learned. I didn't know this when I was younger. I just learned it as I went along. It's kind of like, no mentors, I'll be honest, no mentors. I just kind of sat back and thought, what is going to erase me from music? Because I don't want to be erased. And when you've got an idea of like, you know, it's like chess. When you learn the moves that people are going to use against you, you can learn how to defend against it. So that's kind of what I go through.
Go on, tell us more about that.
Well,
that's really intriguing.
I don't play chess, by the way, but I know the rules of chess. And I play a lot of tactical games. If you know, again, like football, if you know how someone's going to attack you, you can defend against it. If they're going to overload the left side, you know how to avoid that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, what is going to take me out of music? I don't want to be taken out of music. This. How do I, you know, safeguard against it? Because that might be coming up in 6 months' time, 12 months' time, etc., etc. And for me, it's that my manager said to me, look, when we had Labrador Grove was going crazy, playing out of everyone's cars on the radio, he's like, look, this is amazing. I'm so happy for you, but also, if you chill now, then in 6 months' time, you'll have nothing. You have to get back to work because you're only as good as what you did 6 months ago. So if you're having a slow period, it's because 6 months ago you wasn't doing anything. You was enjoying the fruits of your labor, which is great to sit down and enjoy, but you don't overdo it though. You don't overdo it. Same way, again, a footballer, you can't, after the season, you won the league, but you can't go party for a month because if you do and you miss pre-season, you're going to mess up for the next season, etc., etc. So for me, I'm just sitting there thinking, cool, that big show, I'm not ready for it. If they offer me it, what am I going to say? I'm going to talk to my manager and say, look, maybe we say to them to keep the relationship. We say, look, we're flattered by the offer. Thank you so much. Maybe we can do this the year after. Maybe you can, you know, put me on that booking because I'm not sure if I'm ready for that yet. And that's really important for me. Knowing your lane and your level is super, super important because if you overshoot, you can, you know, really mess up your career.
But that takes like a stunning level of self-awareness to know that as well, because you've got this big ambition of where you want to get to, but then you've also got that caution of mitigating against that risk. So how do you get that balance without being either too cocksure or too risk averse and negative?
I think it's a balance that no one has down to a T. I sound like I do. I promise you I don't. It's kind of, you know, as I go, I'm learning, but you obviously gain experience and you've made certain, you know, you stepped on certain pitfalls before, you've seen it, you know how to avoid it next time.
Like what? Give us an example of that.
I can give you an example. You know, for example, if you're like a rapper with a lot of street credibility, making a commercial record is great for your pockets, you make a lot of money, but not so great for your reputation. So for example, if your local area really support you and care about your message, and then you go and do like 5 really big pop songs in a row, they feel disconnected. They don't feel like they know you anymore. And that means you've lost your core fan base. So for me, I've definitely gone on a run of commercial records before and felt like I've kind of disconnected from my fan base a little bit. Not fully, because otherwise I wouldn't be here today. I'd probably be finished. But like definitely to a level that I had to definitely do some stuff to like, bring it back. And
what did you do to bring it back?
That would be giving away some trade secrets. But I can tell you...
Even that's interesting in itself.
But I can definitely tell you... it's very good to be aware of why you started what you do, why you wanted to be, again, high performance, why you wanted to be at the optimum level of whatever it is you do, and your morality and the things you stand on. So for me, obviously, I care about my area. I'm from Labrador Grove. So whenever I have an opportunity, I'm going to talk about Grenfell because it's important to me. And I feel like it's something I need to shine light on. Yeah. It's important for me to go back to Labrador Grove and show the local people there that I still care about them, that if I can do something to make, improve their lives over there, I'm going to do it because that's where I came from and that's the life that I was living. There's a common misconception online that Labrador Grove is extremely wealthy and everyone there is, affluent and having loads of fun. I wish it was like that, trust me. Genuinely, that would be great. It would be a utopia, apparently, in West London. But it's not like that. Actually, how it is that, if I'm not mistaken, Goulburn Road, do you guys know what that is?
Yep.
Cool, Goulburn Road, that area is one of the poorest wards in Europe. It was at the time the poorest ward in Europe, which is mind-blowing if you've been to places like, Brussels, Paris. There's some really, broken areas. Yeah. And Goulburn Road in the Queen's Borough is, one of the most poor wards in Europe, which is crazy. On top of that, you have where I was living was, you'd have big houses, but they're converted into 4 flats that aren't very big. Now, I'm very grateful to grow up where I lived. It was lovely. I love my mum's house. It was great. But, it was small. And sometimes you're living in a house where it's hard to pay the electricity, but the person opposite you has, a drop-top 911 and a Rolex. So that can either inspire you and spur you on and be like, hey, I'm going to make it there where they are. Or it can dishearten you and be like, why? It's not fair. Why am I struggling here? Why do I see, you know, my mum, family struggling and I have none of this and you guys have everything? So that's how my area is. So I'm really inspired to go back there and try and level the playing field if I can at some point.
Could you tell us then the driving factor? Let's go back to I don't know, 13, 14-year-old Shay.
Yep.
Like, was it about getting the Rolex and the Porsche and the bigger flat? Or was it about something else?
The flat, yes. I feel like houses are important. Houses alleviate the stress of having to pay rent. In the end, when you grow up poor, paying rent is a massive thing. That's like, you know, obviously you don't want your house to be lifted from under you. And your mum, if you have a single parent, is, you know, constantly working around the clock to make sure you have a roof over your head, which I'm not being dramatic. That is actually literally how it is. So because of that, I feel like a lot of us growing up with single mums and in impoverished areas, we really strive to put our mum in a house. Like for me, I didn't care about anything else, just putting my mum in a house, because for me, it's like, cool. If I make a few records, people like me, I buy my own house, and then I disappear off the face of the planet. I'm okay with that, honestly, genuinely, because I performed to the best of my ability, I gave it my all, and I achieved the main goal, which was removing my mum from a dangerous situation and giving her a roof over her head and making sure that she's content. You know, because she's getting older now. She's worked her whole life to provide for me and my little brother. It's nice if I can provide for her and she can enjoy retirement chilling. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I did that and that was great. But then I was like, cool. But now I need a house because now I'm still in the hood. So like I need to be in a house. I got my own house. Then it's like, cool. I can't set any more material goals. Houses are nice to have, but material goals will always leave you wanting because you're going to achieve them inevitably at some point if you believe in yourself. And when you do, what do you want next? If you want to, you know, you want a Lamborghini, you get one. Now you want a Bugatti, you get one. Like, what do you want next? You're never going to be fulfilled, ever. Yep. Never, ever. It doesn't matter what you get. You can buy a small island, but then you want like a planet. Like, what? Where's it going to go? You know what I'm saying?
And you knew this at 13? You had this sense that was...
Genuinely knew that at 13. Swear to God, like, genuinely thought that. Like, I had no means of, you know, getting there. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I definitely had the mentality
And have you been proved right? Because you have now got the trappings, you've had the nice cars. Do you realise that actually, as you get these things, there is no
and no
long-lasting thrill?
Yes and no. This is what I always say to everyone. It's very easy with someone with money to be like, hey, money's not everything, and you know, that's true, yeah, cool. Money isn't everything, 100%, but it's a tool for happiness, I believe. Because like I said, if your mum's struggling to pay rent and you get money, you use the money to pay the rent, and now your mum's stress-free. And because she's stress-free, you're now happy. The money didn't make you happy, but what you did with the money, you know, made your life easier, made you happier. So when I bought my first chain, because when I was younger, I always wanted a chain, like all the rappers on TV, I wanted a chain. My mum bought me a little silver chain and I used to wear it every single day, sleep in it, shower in it, everything, didn't take it off. But always in my head, I was like, one day I want a big chain, like, you know, 50 Cent and all these guys. When I bought my first big chain, I'm not gonna lie, I was over the moon. I was ecstatic. And I still am to this day. Every time I look at my chain, I'm happy. So that's a material object. It doesn't give me anything. It doesn't make me stronger or faster or anything. But it makes me happy because it's like a trophy of like my hard work. It's a statement. I worked hard, I got what I wanted, and I did actually work very hard for it. So no one can make me feel like, oh, you're buying these materialistic things, because that's not the be all and end all. But sometimes we treat ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And I think also that's key to performing at, you know, your highest factor, because for me it's like, if you don't have any targets and goals, you're performing for self-worth, that's great, but you achieve that. You are eventually going to achieve that. You feel like you're the best in your craft, you've achieved it. But it's nice to have treats to keep you going. I remember when I had that holiday to wherever, you went to Indonesia, you had a great time, but to get the next holiday and have a good time, you got to work hard again. You need treats, you have to. That's what I believe.
And can we talk about, I mean, I love the fact that obviously you get these treats, but also you have this real deep desire to lift up young people growing up in Ladbroke Grove and other parts of London or around the UK, exactly as young Shay did. And you chose arguably the biggest live performance of your career, the Pyramid Stage at Glastonbury, which was only a few days ago. And
I'm still gassed, I'm not going to lie.
I bet you are, and we'll talk about the feeling on stage in a moment. But I think more importantly than that, you chose to open with a video about Grenfell.
Yes, indeed.
Why did you choose that moment to make that statement?
That is the biggest crowd I've ever performed to in my life. And humbly speaking, I hope I perform to a bigger crowd, but I might not. So that is really my opportunity for maximum awareness, even though the clip wasn't aired on TV. I was a little bit let down by that. But still, there was, you know, I was told, am I correct, 100K in the crowd, something like that? Something like 100,000 in the crowd. That's ridiculous to me. That's like, literally, I couldn't see people anymore. It was just like dots going so far back. And for them to all hear the message, and, you know, they all cheered, they understood the message, they took it in. That was great for me. And when I went Nando's yesterday in Ladbroke Grove, and like, everyone in there is obviously from the local area, and they were like coming up to me saying, yo, we appreciate that you did that. And I'm not doing it for the recognition, I'm doing it because I care and because I lost friends in the fire. But also, it's nice to know that the community, you know, they appreciate that. That's the kind of thing they want. They want people to be raising awareness, talking about it, and just shedding the spotlight on it. And you can't put a bigger light on it in the UK than Glastonbury, to be honest.
How has the Grenfell tragedy changed you?
Changed me, I'll be honest with you. It's really just made me a bit more disappointed in the government, and there's I don't think anything positive's come out of it. The one positive actually is that I saw that my community all banded together. It was really cool because, like, you know, Christians, Muslims, black, white, women, you know, people genuinely, I'm not joking, opposing gang members genuinely coming to help together and just allowing the beef for a minute for a better cause, which I saw that in my own eyes, and that's great. But I kind of already knew Ladbroke Grove was a strong community, so that's not anything new to me. But what was new to me is that I knew the government didn't really care about, you know, impoverished people, but like to the extent, what extent you didn't care was really a shock to me, I'll be honest, because like, I'm not going to get too deep, but as you guys know, it was an avoidable tragedy. They knew what they were putting on the building. They had their safety checks. They knew it wasn't safe. They still went ahead because it's cheaper. And what happened, you know what I'm saying? So.
And what does it say to you that 5 years on, the pace of change to prevent this kind of thing happening again has been slow?
Yeah. I mean, slow is an understatement. Non-existent is the correct phrase. I feel like it was inevitable. I didn't think anyone was going to get arrested for it. It's like, you know, if a policeman's rude to you and you tell his colleague, hey, that policeman was rude, do you expect him to sanction his mate? Like, of course not. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I told you, he gave me a bit of lip in the lobby, like, I don't expect you to go and, like, you know what I'm saying, tell him off. It's just, it is how it is. I think, to be honest with you, the more we make noise and put a spotlight on it, it just makes it more and more uncomfortable. Even if no one gets arrested, it just makes it more uncomfortable for them to do the same thing again, which matters to me a lot because obviously it's saving lives, genuinely saving lives.
But you being willing to speak out and challenge, whether it's injustice, whether it's in Ladbroke Grove or whether it's you know, at a higher political level than that, also puts a target on your back.
Yeah, 100%.
So how do you cope with that idea of...
I'll be completely honest with you, me being a black male from an impoverished area, the target was on my back from the minute I was born. That's the truth. So I'm used to it. My dad told me as a black man, he's like, look, at the end of the day, you're going to do certain things that other people will do and you'll get in more trouble just because you're black. That's how it goes. And you got to learn to, like, go around it, avoid it, you know, think smart and be careful with your moves. For me, it's like, there's certain things that I won't do because I know there's going to be a big spotlight on me and I'm just going to get in loads of trouble for it. You know what I'm saying?
Like what, for example?
I don't know. I'm trying. You know what? I've been well behaved for such a long time. I'm struggling to think of an example for you. But for example, just when I used to get on the bus on the way back from school, if I'm at the back of the bus playing my music loud and being ignorant, that's like, it's not setting a good example because then everyone's going to think, you know, people who already have racist, you know, stereotypes and ideologies are going to think, see, that's what I thought. He's at the back of the bus. Like they all are making noise, blah, 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 blah. Like I'm not going to fuel the stereotype. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Even when I go to like, certain areas that like I'm able to go in because of who I am, but a lot of people who look like me and are from where I'm from aren't able to be in there, certain places. I try to set the most stellar example. So when they meet someone else who's like me, they don't have a, you know, misconception that they're going to be misbehaved or rude or whatever because I've come first and been like, hey, I can speak like you, dress like you, talk like you, walk like you, make money like you, whatever. So when they see other people, they're going to be like, oh, you know, I'm going to give him a chance because I saw AJ and he's from there and he was all right, you know what I'm saying? That's a basic example. I can't really give you exact.
You know, this reminds me of the conversation with Carl Loco.
Yes,
you met Carl. Carl Loco. He was. You might have done. He was a gang member from Brixton. His gang name was Locks, and he's gone.
Oh, I know who that is. Yeah.
He's gone on to do amazing things. And he said to us at the end of our interview, he said every day because he now runs a business looking for investment.
Yep.
For young black entrepreneurs who are just not invested in. They go into meeting after meeting after meeting. No one gives them cash.
Yep.
Young white guy walks in and gets cash.
Yeah.
And he said every day we walk in the office and we say, act like an old rich white man.
Yeah.
And we both found that heartbreaking because it's like you still have to act in that way to be successful in this society. And we love to talk about how much everything's improving, but I wonder if it really is.
I'll be honest, I think it's improving. I think so. From when I grew up till now, look, I've been privileged to live in London. As we know, London's very multicultural. I'm not as exposed to a lot of stereotypes and, you know, isms as I would be somewhere else. My nan lives in Buxton, so when I go up to Buxton, it's a little bit different, I'll be honest.
Is this your mum's mum?
Yeah, that's my mum's mum. Yeah, she's Welsh. She lives in Buxton, but bless her, obviously she's blind to racism. She doesn't care about any of that stuff. She just loves everyone. But you know, when I go up there, I'll get comments sometimes, but it's like, if an 85, 90-year-old man is being racist to me, like, it's not even worth me expending my energy to tell him off for it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's really pointless at that point. You have to just ignore it. But it's when young people have these ideologies that like, oh, I'm better than someone else because they're from here, or this person's an immigrant, or this person has this faith. Like when I see young people doing that, that's what's heartbreaking to me, because that means your parents have instilled that in you. Because you're not just born racist. Someone's told you to dislike someone based on the color of their skin, or, you know, being sexist or whatever. Like that's it. Someone's taught you that, which is horrible. You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to teach evil things to kids? It just doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I understand what you're saying about acting like an old white man might sound like heartbreaking, but to me, I always say to my friends, it's like, if you don't like the fact that police, you know, don't treat black people equally, a good thing that you could do is go and join the police force. I'm not telling everyone to be a policeman, if that might not be your whatever you want to do, but if you are into like justice and whatnot, law or whatever, you can be the change. You can go in there and be the change and start the process of, you know, trying to help out if you can. Yeah. Like for me, the position that I'm in, for me to not talk about Grenfell or Glastonbury would be, you know, a shame, because I've got this platform. This is the platform that I've made, and that's where I'm from. So that's the logical thing. I don't even think it's like a good thing to do. It's just the right thing to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just things you should do. Yeah, man. I just think you got to try and be the change actively. So, for example, I'm not going to name them by name, but there was a footballer that I used to really look up to. I heard him make a racist comment, and now I just won't buy into him at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have to do that, because I don't care how good he is at football and how much I used to love him. If someone makes a comment that goes against what I stand for, you have to set an example for everyone else by boycotting that. That's how I feel.
But it also seems to me, Shay, as well, that one of your great strengths, and I'm interested in exploring how you've developed this, is you've almost been an outsider in lots of ways. So your ability to look at a different situation and feel empathy for it seems like a real superpower. So I was interested in that you described that your mum was, she's white and she grew up in Wales. You know, you said in Ladbroke Grove, there's a whole melting pot of different cultures, of different friends, whether it's Albanians or Eastern Europeans that grew up there. And your music seems to connect with a real diverse cross-section of the population. So how much do you consciously develop this ability to empathise and see the world through other people's eyes?
I think I don't consciously develop it, but it's a subconscious upgrade that I'm doing. It's subconscious, because every time I talk to someone new and I learn about their story and what they've gone through, I add it to the archive, and I learn to be empathetic towards that cause or whatever it is, because I might not have known that before.
This reminds me of a couple of things we talk about often on High Performance, which is that everyone these days has an opinion, right? Everyone has an opinion. And we say often,
opinions are free.
Empathy. Empathy over opinion. There's a great quote from a guy called Bill Bullard, who was an American politician, and he said that opinion is the lowest form of knowledge because it requires no empathy, no understanding of another person. And we were joined by a great guest on High Performance previously, and this plays into so much of what you say, where he said to us, you know what, instead of judging someone because of their behaviour or the way they've made you feel or the way they've acted in front of someone else, you have to realise that if you'd have lived their life, you'd be acting exactly the same.
Yeah. Important thing to know, I'll be honest. I think it's very easy nowadays with, you know, social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, for someone to just jump on the internet anonymously and leave a horrible comment. It doesn't even have to be horrible, just an opinion that wasn't needed under something that you really just didn't have to say anything. You could have silently been empathetic, or you could have just, you know, had your own opinion in your head or amongst your friends, but you chose to make it public and show everyone what your opinion is. And that's why opinions are so cheap and so fickle. For me, like, you know, I'll post a piece of music and the song is 3 minutes 20 long, and after 30 seconds someone's told me it's trash, but you haven't heard the song yet. It's not even been out. It's just dropped, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see Drake laughing at that a lot. He posts his album, someone's like, it's trash after like 3 minutes, but bro, the album's how long? You haven't even heard it yet. This is just what people do. But I think with the opinion stuff, being empathetic is a lot more valuable. It's a skill that not a lot of people have. I'll be honest, I don't want to say I'm selective with my empathy, but it's just part of who I am to sometimes not give out all my energy to every cause, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So a great thing that someone told me is like, you know, like when people say all lives matter, and people are like, why can't I say that? All lives do matter. Of course they matter. We know all lives matter. But at the moment, it feels like black lives matter the least. So we're shining light on them until it's equal. When it's equal, we can say all lives matter because everyone will be equal again. But until it's equal, we can't use that phrase because black lives need to matter as much as white lives for it all to be, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's a good thing to apply just in life in general. You know, if there's two houses and there's a fire coming, but your house is on fire, my house isn't on fire yet, we should care about your house first, not both houses, because mine is not on fire. It's very easy to understand, but some people want to be ignorant and block it out and be like, no, it doesn't work like that. We should care about these people, and you shining light on black people means that you hate white people. It doesn't mean anything like that, bro, honestly. And I think even down to saying things like free Palestine does not make you, it doesn't mean you're against Jewish people at all. It doesn't mean you're against Israel. It doesn't mean anything. It means you would like Palestine to be free and people not to get hurt. I feel like that's very straightforward, but people like to use the internet and opinions to remix and twist everything.
Can you share with us then your relationship with social media?
Yeah.
I know you've had a time off social media. Minimum.
Right. I have a very small relationship. Why? Why? I'll tell you why. Because out of all the social medias, I think Twitter is probably my favorite, just because you can see what people are saying. Like, there's no picture or anything. There's no, I'm not showing off. I'm just saying whatever's on my mind, which I like. Obviously, you get a lot of people spouting nonsense on there.
I find Twitter horrendous.
But you know why I like it? I'll tell you, but it's good for conversations, though. You can see a full thread of conversations rather than Instagram. It's like, here's a picture, and no matter what the caption is, I've given you no context to the picture. If I post a picture now of me in Hong Kong in a Lamborghini and just say, yeah, I'm here, I'm in Hong Kong. It's like, I haven't shown you how I got the Lamborghini, how long I've been working, or what my job is, or how I achieved that, or why I'm in Hong Kong. I might be there for a meeting. My best friend might be working in a Lamborghini dealership. Like, who knows what I am? It's just a snapshot, and usually it's a highlight reel of your best moments. You're not going to show people, when you woke up and you was ill the other day and you had a runny nose, you don't take a picture and post that, because you don't want people to see your worst moments. You only show your best. It's a highlight reel. It's not real. Yeah. And anyone's highlight reel will look amazing. Not going to throw any footballers under the bus, but a lot of them have highlight reels that look outstanding, but they're not that great.
So what does that do then for young people growing up, spending all their hours, as a lot of them do?
It's harsh. It's harsh, bro. Honestly, it's really harsh. Like, for their mental health, it's really, really harsh. That's why, as I've grown up, I don't like flex anymore. I don't like shitting on people. I like sharing my wins and trying to inspire people, but I don't want to shit on anyone, because, posting loads of jewelry and being like, look what I got, and you don't have that. Who's that helping, man? Like, it doesn't make me feel better. I know I have the jewelry. And how are you helping little kids achieve by telling them, I have something that you don't? They're just going to feel like I'm never going to achieve that.
Love that.
Yeah, but you should say, this is how I got here. You could do that as well. Like, I came from where you came from, and these are the steps I took to achieve this. No matter what it is, it could be, a book deal or whatever it is that kids want to achieve. As long as you explain yourself and give, doing things like this to show people, hey, this is how AJ did it, or this is what his mindset was when he was trying to achieve it, might help the next little AJ do his thing.
So then tell us then, so if there was a kid from Ladbroke Grove listening to this that's got an aspiration to,
I hope there is,
to be a lawyer or a doctor or something maybe not in the in the sort of performing arts, what's the first step you tell them to take to achieve a similar level of success that you've done?
I would think the first step is probably, for me personally, this might sound like a random first step, but if you live at home with your mum and your dad, probably speak to them first and make your ambitions clear, because they're the people who are financially supporting you, and obviously moralistically as well, but they're supporting you while you live at home. So these are the people that you're going to be around every day, and as your guardians, they need to really understand what your journey is and your path is, so they can help accommodate that. So I would go to my parents first and say, hey, I want to be a doctor. If you guys have any suggestions, or and maybe your mum knows a doctor, maybe your dad used to want to be a doctor, maybe anything, they can talk to you about it. But also, it's that you've established. I know how it goes with parents sometimes, and today is quite a scary day to have kids. It's quite scary outside. So they might be like, I don't want you to be a BMX, rider, because the skate park's dangerous. I don't want you around there, blah, blah, blah. I understand that. But it's also about understanding how much your child wants to achieve this, if this is a viable goal for them. If I said to my mum, give me a year off uni, I want to be a rapper, but I was rubbish, then I'm pretty sure, because I know my mum, she's quite rude, she would have said, nah, I don't think so. But it's like, using logic as well. You don't just say, oh yeah, go for it, be a spaceman or whatever. Like, you have to actually say, hey, if that's what you want to do, show me your steps, show me what you're going to do to achieve this, and let's talk about it. I think that's the first step, to be honest.
And then what about friendship groups?
Yeah.
Because I
love this one. This is my favorite topic.
Go on then. Because we've been around sort of, say, footballers or people that have achieved significance. Yeah. And this is a huge area that often goes unspoken about the influence of your peer group and the peer pressure that comes with it. So tell us why it's your favourite topic to discuss.
Cool. I think, first off, you don't pick your friends. Initially, you don't pick your friends. But I also think that there becomes a time when your friend group can get stagnant, and if you understand that people around you don't have the same ambition as you, it's counterproductive to be around them. And I don't want to sound like some horrible guy who just cuts off all his friends, because I've got the same group of friends that I've had for like 10 plus years. But it's about knowing when to spend your time with certain friends and how to share your energy and time with friends. For example, I had a little music group when I was coming up, and when I did my first BBC freestyle, like with all of us as a group, it was sick. We smashed it. We came out and everyone was on a high. But I took that opportunity to actually scold everyone. And that sounds crazy, but I'll explain why. We came out and we went to McDonald's, and my cousin, Big Zoo, he's like a TV chef now. You guys might have seen him on TV. Yeah. Hilarious guy. I love him. But he's my cousin. So
I was with him at the Champions League final.
Oh, yeah? Perfect. Yeah, that's my guy.
He was enjoying himself.
Of course he was. Of course he was. Lovely guy. But
so what's he called? Sorry, Big Zoo.
Big Zoo, yeah. So I was with him and I was with all my other friends. But the thing is, the difference between all my other friends and him is he's actually my cousin. So I said to everyone, I said, look, the harsh reality of this is, I know where I'm going. I know what I'm going to achieve. I promise you. This is like almost 6 years ago now. Yeah. I said, I know what I'm going to achieve. And I said, Zoo's my cousin. So even if he doesn't get up every day, he doesn't do anything, doesn't help me at all, I'm going to drag him. Like, I'm going to bring him because he's my cousin. You guys, I'm not. So you have to put in your shift. You know what I'm saying? You have to do it. So I'm letting you lot know, if you want to be with me, come with me. If you don't, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Of course, by the way, I didn't have to drag Zoo. If anything, Zoo might be dragging me into TV soon. But I'm so happy that Zoo did that. But it's a thing where, like, even if he didn't do that, if he just decided to not do anything, because he's my cousin, that's how it goes. I'm going to have him. I'm sure if I didn't make it, he would have had me. So with the rest of the friends, I really told them, like, cool, we're on a high right now. That was great what we did. But you lot need to understand that it don't stop here. You achieve something and we're going to keep, you got to keep your foot on the gas. If we give up here, well, not we, because I was never going to. But if you guys give up here, that's you. I'm not going to bail you out. And I feel like I have bailed out a lot of people. I say I'm not going to bail people out, and then I always do because I'm a softie. But like, I'll bail someone out, and then cool, the next time you're not getting a second chance, bro. I did it, it's done, and we're going to move on. But quickly, with your friend circle, I genuinely believe this, yeah? You should be hanging out with people who you believe are achieving more than you, in my opinion, personally. Because when you're hanging out with people who are doing the same as you, that's cool. You're all doing whatever, but that might breed, content. Like, you're cool chilling, you're all achieving, you got the Rolex, you got the whatever, you're cool, you're blessed, whatever. If you're hanging out with people who are achieving less than you, and here's the thing, there's no problem if someone is achieving less than you as long as they're trying to achieve. But it's the people who are content with not achieving, that's a problem. You shouldn't be around these people. These people are going to make you feel like it's okay to underachieve, but it's never okay to underachieve. And when I say that, I mean, like, in football, you ain't got to score a hat-trick, but you got to give your best, though. Leave it all on the pitch, and the manager can see you tried your best, and it is what it is. You had a bad day, you couldn't score, whatever. That's fine, you tried your best. It's when, I go into studio and I'm not serious. I'm playing with my phone, and, I paid for the session, but I'm sitting here, the producer's trying to work. I'm ignoring him. I'm FaceTiming whoever I'm FaceTiming. That's not serious, bro. That's not serious. You need to hang around with people who are going to encourage you. Like, hey, I just went to Art Basel the other day and invested in some art. Like, I don't know if you're into art, but you might want to do this, AJ. Say, thanks for the heads up. Maybe I don't, maybe I do, but it's whatever. Maybe I go link a tennis player and he says, yo, you don't know about tennis, but I'm going to teach you. This is what we do. This is how our training is. It's grueling. It's every day. You might want to do some training. Why don't you get into, you know what I'm saying? It should be like that. Everyone should be spurring each other on. And I recently built a gym in my back garden because I was like, cool, I can't go to the gym. Like, obviously I can go to the gym, but sometimes I get, people, hey, AJ, and I can't do a workout. So I'm like, a good investment is for me to build a fully functional gym in my back garden, because then every single day I have no excuse. I don't like to leave myself any room for excuses because I'm secretly lazy. If I can achieve without doing the maximum effort, I'll find. In fact, you know what's crazy about it? I'm so lazy that I'm not lazy, because I'll look for the laziest option and find the route to not put in the work, which is mad.
Which is a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly. It's mad. It's crazy.
But take me back to that table after that BBC event. You sat in McDonald's and you're like giving this set of instructions to your friends. And what intrigues me on that is that at that age, you wouldn't be popular. And yet you're the one making yourself unpopular by saying, I'm going to the top, and if you want to come with me, this is
never
what it
cared
takes.
about popularity at all, bro. In school, I was not popular at all. I did not care about popularity. Like,
that is a currency that too many people put too much emphasis on.
We call it today clout. It's just called clout now. Clout is crazy. Clout is a disease, honestly, because it's like, if you ask most people today, genuinely, I've asked a lot of people this, and you'll be surprised by the answer. If I say, do you want £1 million or 1 million followers? I swear to God, a lot of them are choosing 1 million followers, which is mind blowing. It's crazy. Now, the thing is, of course, you can make money for 1 million followers. Yeah, of course you can. But if I give you £1 million, like, you can go and invest that. I feel like people think for today and not for 6 months, like we were talking about earlier. Like a social media following is great, but you know, people were high performance before Instagram. Trust me, definitely were. That's it, man. That speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? It's great that we have social medias, utilize them, use them as a tool, but it's not the be all and end all. I promise you, if someone hacks my Instagram and deletes it tomorrow, I'll be upset, but like, it's not that deep, bro. It's like, I'm still AJ Tracey. I'm still gonna make my music. I'll crack on. But I feel like a lot of people hang their whole entire lives on social media. Like, if you was to shut down their Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok or whatever, they have nothing, which to me is mind-blowing. That is crazy to me. I don't think anyone's job as well should rely on someone's social media. If I make a social media and you guys are making money off it, and I decide to close it, then what do you do now? For me, that's just an issue, you know what I'm saying? There needs to be to a point where you're looking at every avenue you can monetize and, you know, delving into it. So I do Twitch, like I stream on Twitch, I play games because I love gaming. In my spare time, I play so much FIFA, it'd be ridiculous for me to not try and make money off it because I'm spending so much on FIFA points and stuff. So FIFA on Twitch, and then we got, obviously, I do occasional, fashion stuff like modeling. I go to Paris, I, work with brands and stuff. That's another avenue. Obviously, I make music and we sell the music, but then I do live shows. That's another avenue as well. And then I make investments in art. And then I've recently got into like cryptos, NFTs, stuff like that. So property, of course, you should be doing everything you can within your power. And it's such a shame to get to like a position to do these things and just squander it and just not do it. And just, buy a couple cool things, shiny things and be like, yeah, I'm sweet.
So this is a good time to mention Selfdoubt.
Yep.
Like, it's been such a fascinating, 45, 50 minutes
flew past.
Where you have seemed like, so razor sharp in your opinions and your knowledge and your laser focus about where you're going and where you've come from.
Yeah.
So what role does self-doubt play in your world? And I think this is valuable for people who struggle.
Yeah, of course. A big role, man. A big role. I loved speaking about mental health because I feel like this is one of the most valuable things you can speak about. Because for me, it's like growing up, I listened to a lot of rappers and I didn't really hear many of them say like, oh, sometimes I feel depressed or sometimes I'm anxious, sometimes I'm not sure of myself, because you need to hear that. Because if you think that the person you look up to is always sure of themselves and you're never sure of yourself, you can't relate. You can't relate. So I love saying to people, look, sometimes I wake up and I feel shit, you know what I'm saying? I feel shit. We all do sometimes. There might not even be a reason for it. Everything might be going fine, but I just feel shit. And for me, talking about it and saying, hey, look, even though I've got this, I've got that, I've achieved whatever, I still feel shit sometimes. I still feel anxious when I got on stage. Glastonbury, I promise you, I was bricking it before I got on stage. It is what it is. But these are things that humans go through, and it's all right to feel like that. And it's just good to check on your mates and be like, hey, I don't feel great today. Like, what do you recommend? They might say, hey, come on, let's go cinema, let's go kick some ball. And I think hearing people that you look up to or hold in high regard, hearing them speak about, being the same as everyone else is really, really, really important. So whenever I have an opportunity to, I definitely speak about it. And self-doubt plays a massive role, not only in my life, but like everyone's life. Everyone I'm around at like the highest level, there's always self-doubt. I'm sure Ronaldo said to himself, can I do it at Man United again? Can I do it again? You know what I'm saying? Like, he wouldn't have just been like, yeah, I can definitely do it. He would have been like, can I? And thought about it, yeah, I can. Then you gas yourself up, yeah, I can do it. Of course I can. But there's always self-doubt. It's natural.
Well, then take us into the preparations for your Glastonbury set then. Because you were doing something very different there. In terms of you were coming
You're a
out
rock star now, mate.
Yeah. Oh, man. I dabble.
But how far back did you decide I'm going to do something different here for this audience that is a break from the norm? And then how did you overcome the doubts that maybe arose from that?
I would love to sit here and tell you that I had it planned way, way, way in advance, but I did not at all. I really didn't. And I think this is also valuable for people to hear. I didn't have that planned way in advance. Basically, what happened is I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of like some confidential stuff, but basically when we got this offer for Glastonbury and such an amazing slot, it's very prestigious, like we knew how big it was going to be, I was over the moon. So I sat down with my manager and I'm like, cool, we can't do a normal show. And traditionally, everyone knows this about me, I'm independent, I don't have a big label funding me. Genuinely, people don't believe me, but I don't. Everything I spend is out of my own pocket, genuinely out of my own pocket. So when I do a show, I might make 250K, but I promise you I always spend 380K upwards. Like, I'm trying to give people the best show ever, because you reinvest in yourself and it comes back, it always comes back. So with Glastonbury, I'm like, cool, I don't care about the budget. We obviously went minus, but it's fine. Let's get a live band in. But that decision to get a live band in was probably like 2 weeks before the show. And obviously you need to rehearse. And doing songs, renditions with the live band is completely different from doing your normal songs. And obviously the volumes, the
Yeah, but tell us why though, because you could have just gone and done your normal set.
I could have gone and done my normal set, but that's extremely lazy. We're here to talk about high performance. That is not high performance. That's me taking the easy way out, and I hate taking the easy way out. When I say the lazy way, it's not always the easy way. It might be a harder way to be lazy, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me to be like, cool, I'm proud of that Glastonbury set. I had to do something that, one, meant something to me, which is why I spoke about Grenfell. I feel like I used that platform well, and then also surprise people. There would have been people there, you know, my mum's age, being like, I've never heard of this guy, but I like it. You're a Sex Pistols fan. You like it. I'm doing some rock stuff. It's cool. Maybe you don't like all the songs, but you like one of them. Maybe, you know, someone else said like, oh, I've heard AJ Tracey, I like his normal stuff, but this is cool. This is a change. I like the different change. I've seen him before at Wireless. I've seen him wherever, and now I've seen him with a rock band. This is different. So for me, the preparation for that was like, cool, we're going to get a rock band in. I got rehearsals. But the problem is, Givenchy was dressing me for the show. They dressed me. But I have to go to Paris and go to the Givenchy show, which was only a few days before Glastonbury. So I went to Paris, went to the show, came back, and I came back a day early. I cut my stage short. I had other shows to go to, but I cut it a day short so that I could rehearse. Now, even that for me is a testament to like, it always makes me feel good about myself, because I'm like, I know I could have had fun in Paris, getting drunk and turning up wherever. Diplo played an amazing set. I had a great time. But I could have continued having a great time. But it's more important for me to come home and rehearse. And the willpower to do that, some people will be like, oh, why would I go rehearse? I know my lyrics. I'll just turn up and, you know what I'm saying, stay here. But no, I went home, I rehearsed. And I think for the band as well, it was like good for them to see that I'm dedicated. Like, it's not just you guys learning these songs and I'm just gonna half-ass it. I'm here with you. We're gonna learn it, make everyone feel comfortable. So I came back, rehearsed 2 days in a row. Great, had it smashed. But also it's like learning, thinking about where I'm gonna stand on the stage. The stage is massive. It's not like the normal size. Yeah. There's like stage left and stage right and then down the steps is crazy. So learning how to stand on the stage and, you know, captivating the crowd and controlling. Being an MC is, you know, master of coronations, but it's like being a mic controller. You have to control the crowd. You know, like when you conduct an orchestra. When you conduct an orchestra, you have to, you know, I tell people, put your hands up. And some people would say, put your hands up, and they won't put their hands up. But you have to say it like you mean it.
Yeah.
Put your hands up, and the hands are up. You know what I'm saying? But that's part of it, man. I feel like just preparing for shows is part of being high performance. Again, I've said it 1,000 times. I hope you guys got the...
But then the moment you stood behind the curtain,
yeah,
just about to announce you,
yeah,
tell us about how, like, those moments there of what's going on through your mind. Yeah. How do you get yourself in a place?
Do you have a routine, mental routine?
I'll be honest, man, not really. My routine is I used to get drunk before my shows because I was...
That is not high performance.
That's not high... Honestly, that's not high
Where
performance.
Does that... See, now that is fascinating, because you're this deep thinker,
yep,
who's taken very careful steps all the way through.
We all have our vices. That's the answer. We all have our vices. Before I had a girlfriend, I was very much enjoying life. Life to me, everyone loves me somehow. I don't know what's going on, but great. Liquor, great. Having a great time, having a great night. Rinse and repeat every day. It was great. But also, it's like, that itself, yeah, you're right, it's not high performance, but we all have our vices. Everyone's human, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's things that you learn from. So I used to do shows, and the show was sick. Everyone would be like, AJ, that was a great show. But I know in my head, I was drunk. That wasn't a great show. It was an okay show. Yeah. And I can do way better. So now when I'm sober and I do the best of my ability, this is a different feeling. I'm performing at the optimum level, and I can go home and sit down and be like, great, that was the best I could have possibly done. Left everything out there. Perfect. Like that's high performance, you know what I'm saying? And it's learning. It's always learning, constantly learning. Even at Glastonbury, you know, I feel like I could have handled my stage presence a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? For me, that's something I'll improve on. I always take away from the show, hey, I sit and reflect for like an hour after the show, and I say, what could I have done better? What will I do next time to give people a better show?
And who helps you with that reflection?
Myself. I'll be
Just
honest.
yourself?
Myself. I'm open to, like, you know, constructive criticism. My mates say, bro, that was a great show. I noticed at one point you looked a bit tired. You could have Then yeah, of course. And for me, like I said with the gym, fitness is important for doing a live show. I promise you. Like, if I do an hour-long set, jumping up and down and screaming, like, it's a lot. It's actually a workout. So I actually take that from Stormzy. Stormzy showed me that getting into shape is really important for your show. Eating well, working out, you know what I'm saying? And then being able to not run out of breath and give a full energetic show for an hour. It's important. It is important.
Can I just follow up on a couple of things there? You spoke about the getting drunk before you perform, but also the idea that when you do go out there and perform, there's almost a certain amount of vulnerability that you're putting yourself all out there, and not being drunk therefore exposes you to the emotions, the feedback, both good and bad.
You feel everything,
So how do you cope with that, about making yourself vulnerable?
I'll be honest with you, that's one of the hardest things I've had to learn. Like, we talk about like the razor sharp focus and stuff, but being vulnerable is really difficult for me, I'll be honest, because growing up and where I'm from, being vulnerable just leaves you exposed, and usually the people who fail are the ones who are the most vulnerable. So I try to shield myself as much as possible. But being vulnerable also allows people to make genuine connections with you, which is essential. Someone in that crowd might genuinely hear my story or hear this podcast or, hear the Grenfell tribute and hear my songs and be like, you know what? Like, I am what AJ's talking about. Like, I'm going through what he's talking about, and that might inspire them to be like, hey, I could be up there on that stage like that. And for me, that's really important, because when you leave the planet, not to be a hippie, but honestly, you obviously can't take your money with you, but you can leave a legacy and you can improve people's lives, and you can hopefully create the next AJ Tracey, the next whoever, you know what I'm saying? So for me, being vulnerable really allows people to, as I say, make a genuine connection, and it's an essential part of being an artist. Like, being a rapper is one thing, but being an artist is like, it's quite different. You have to learn to connect with people, share your story, raise people up, but also, still performing at the highest level, but that doesn't mean that you can't be vulnerable. Maybe performing at the highest level is being completely vulnerable, something that I haven't achieved yet, and hopefully I will do one day, but something I'm working on.
So how does like the name AJ Tracey as opposed to Shay protect you from giving yourself completely or being completely vulnerable?
It's like a costume, you know what I'm saying? It's like a costume, like putting on your Spider-Man costume or something. It doesn't make me invincible, but there is definitely a guise of like, I can use that as an excuse. I don't, but I definitely could.
So what's the difference between AJ and Shay then?
What's the difference? I mean, AJ for me personally is a stage show name, you know what I'm saying? It's me being a music artist, but nothing much more than that, I'll be honest. It's just music. Shay is everything apart from music. Shay is, caring about people, bringing my mum regularly and saying, how are you? You cool? Everything good? Checking on my little brother, making sure that he's doing well at his job and keeping his head down. Going to see my mates and kicking ball. Even like, there's a few rappers that I'm genuinely actually friends with in real life. So, checking on them, hanging out with them, seeing how their life's going, like outside of music. Like I said, H, lovely guy, you know what I'm saying? We check on each other all the time. We won't even be nothing to do with music. He'll just text me, say, yo, you good? Everything cool? Sweet. But it's important, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's Shay, I'll be honest. That's not AJ, that's Shay. If I text you saying, how are you, bro? You all right? That's me texting you. If I text you saying, yo, I'm at Glastonbury, can you come out on the third song? That's AJ texting you. Yeah, man. But I just think, I don't think, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, I don't think separating them completely makes sense, because obviously AJ is a part of Shay and Shay is obviously a part of AJ. But I do feel like it's necessary to put the costume on and give your best when it's work time, because we're in the work environment. You should give your best at work. I always say this to everyone around me. I always say that. I say that to the missus, say that to my little brother. I say, yo, when you go into work, forget all that. Forget everything else. Forget all that. Even if I have an argument with someone, like right before stage time, I promise you, I've forgotten it for 45 minutes. After, I remember it. Trust me, I remember it. But 45 minutes.
Maybe there's a real value, right, to being vulnerable, Shay, right?
Yeah.
And being able to look at a performance or something you've done and say, right, not good enough.
Yeah.
I need to be better. I mean, we can talk about your relationship with failure, but we believe that failure is a fantastic element 100%. To life, and you should embrace it and 100%. Love failure. But then obviously you can then become AJ again on stage, and there's no vulnerability. There is no mindset of failure, because that's a conversation you have with almost a different person.
Definitely.
I don't want to go too deep.
No,
too abstract.
It's true though. It's true. It's true what you're saying. It's true. While I'm on stage, I'm not thinking about, will I do this I am doing this to the best of my ability. Yeah. I'm living this right now. I'm gonna.
Does AJ have any doubts, any self-doubt?
AJ has no doubts. I'm not gonna lie to you. None. Genuinely none. AJ has none. Shay has loads, but AJ has none. I promise you. AJ has no doubts.
So tell us about Shay's relationship with failure.
Cool. I mean, for me, that's outside of music, man. That's like just life in general. Failure is a lot of things. Failure is, even though I chose to take a year off uni to go and chase music, I also feel a little bit like I could have completed it. Like while I was doing music, I could have maybe completed it. So that for me felt like a bit of a failure. It wasn't really completely, but it did feel like it, because I was doing criminology.
Right.
When I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer. I really, really wanted to be a lawyer. I can argue for England. I love arguing. I really wanted to be a lawyer. I love history, love English. But my behavior, obviously, I'm ADHD, so I was a little bit like distracted. I was easily distracted. And that's another thing as well. I think with failure, sometimes what people call failure isn't actually failure. Does that make sense? So in school, like a teacher saying to me, oh, like, it's been 20 minutes and you can't concentrate. really that means that I need help. That doesn't mean I failed at this lesson. That means that you should be trying to help me and accommodate my learning needs. But obviously, you know, school's changed now. I'm sure it's different. I haven't been to school for a while. I'm sure it's improved. I hope it's improved. But yeah, I feel like failure is essential as well it's a learning tool. It's a learning tool. Someone who's never failed, when you do, it's going to be catastrophic. That's how it goes. Because you've never taken this lesson before. It's a harsh lesson you're going to have to learn. And if you learn it at the pinnacle of your career, you know, I dread to think about how painful that's going to be. Whereas me, it's like I've picked up loads of little failures and I've ironed them out and tried again, failed again, ironed them out. And it's cool because it forms you into a person. It's like building armor, you know what I'm saying? Like working on armor, like a blacksmith. Because, you know, there's a little chink in the armor, you iron it out, and you see a different one, you iron it out until you got the perfect suit of armor. Nothing's ever perfect, but an ideal suit of armor.
And what's been the most significant failure you've experienced then? And what did you learn from it?
Significant failure. To be honest, that's a hard one. I think in my personal life, I've had a few friends who I was working with them, and I think I didn't understand, or I didn't take a minute out to understand that me being AJ Tracey and living the life that I'm living, and them, you know, they're not in the public spotlight, like they don't earn as much money as me, etc., but they're being subjected to a lot of the same, you know, attention as I am. It's quite hard for them, and I don't think sometimes I think that slipped.
Are you
through
quite
the net.
demanding to be around?
Yes and no, not really. I'll be honest, not really. I'm quite easygoing, but my job is quite demanding. So if you're with me at work, then the pressures are on you regardless. Whether I'm putting the pressure on you or not, the pressure's there. You know, certain things like if you're with me and I have all my jewelry on, you can't take a picture and tag where we are right now. You can't do that because that's dangerous. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's certain rules that you just can't do. When I was single and I lived in my house with my older brothers, I was telling them, you can't bring random girls to the house, bro. You can't do it. Like, it's impossible because I live here and you're putting me in danger. There's just rules that people have to follow being around me. And it's quite a lot, I'll be honest, quite daunting on people because a lot of my friends are living, you know, their lives, they're living their normal lives and they don't want to have to think about, oh, let me make sure I don't show the window in his house because then they can see where he lives from outside. It's quite a lot, you know what I'm saying? Me, I've hammered it into my, you know, psyche that I have to follow these rules, but for some other people it might be quite difficult. And I think that's a failure of mine just because I wasn't empathetic enough with my friends and, you know, them not being in my position. Because with all the hardships that I go through, the other side is like, oh, but, you know, I have loads of fans and I make money and, you know, my mum's cool and da-da-da, but they sometimes are subject to the hardships without the bonuses, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would say that's a failure personally. Not something I do anymore, but I used to do that and I've kind of worked on it. Yeah.
One of the things that you're really well known for is being independent, not playing the whole record label game.
Yes.
You've called your record label Revenge Records.
I have indeed.
Why Revenge Records?
This is the first talk about this ever. No one's mentioned this yet.
No one's ever asked you why?
Only because we've not really announced it. We've not really said anything about it. It's just kind of like a...
Okay.
Yeah. But Revenge Records, okay, I'll tell you why. Because I am someone who loves revenge, yeah? And revenge doesn't mean, you know, like you cut me up in traffic and now I'm going to like punch you up or whatever. So it doesn't mean like that. It means as in like people who I feel like have mistreated me, just getting one up on them. And I don't think that's unhealthy. I've never ever thought that's unhealthy. A lot of people say to me, you're holding grudges, you shouldn't. I don't think that's unhealthy at all. I think that life in general is a competition. I'm always competing for some reason or against something. Not always someone, but something. Might even be myself. Yeah. But revenge is like, cool. I told someone, yo, you know, let's get to work. Let's go work on something. And they laugh and say, haha, never. Or whatever. You know, someone might be really rude and say, I'm not going to shoot over you, I don't care. Da-da-da. And then when it comes back around, and I've had my platinum hit now, and you want a verse, I'm going to laugh at you. Now, the thing is, with that as well, it might sound like petty, but for me, genuinely, it's like, I just like everything to be equal. My OCD likes everything to be one for one. Does that make sense? So, it doesn't have to be a dramatic example of, oh, he's done me wrong and I hate him for life or whatever, but it could just be like getting revenge on, for example, you know, something like Grenfell. The government's done us dirty, and when we have our opportunity to get one over on them, I promise you Labrador will be taking their opportunity to get one over on the government whenever they can. It just is what it is. It's about one for one.
So this is revenge is an energy source for you?
Yeah, of course. For me it is.
And almost in a positive way, because, you know, the connotation of revenge is...
I'll be lying if I sat and say only positive. Both. For me, it's whatever. It's just, it's like karma, for example. I love karma because a lot of the time I see it happen and I'm like, great, that was deserved. You know, you see someone, he's a bit of a prick and he's done someone dirty and he gets it back and you're like, that was well deserved. I love that. But also, it's like it doesn't have to be revenge directly on me. It could be, you know, a company is rude to one of my friends because they think he's just a normal guy or whatever. And then the company reaches out to me And I'm like, haha, okay, you was rude to my mate, now we're going to see. Like that.
So how explicit are you in letting them know that you're scoring that equaliser?
Yeah.
And how much of it is it just internal that you just sort of give yourself a quiet moment of...
It's just for me, I'll be honest, it's not for anyone else. Even like whenever I get revenge, I'll never say, hey, I got my revenge. It's saying like Denzel Washington, I'm not trying to equalise, you know what I'm saying? But when I get my revenge, I just sit and internalise. I'm like, oh, nice. Like that happened ages ago and we've leveled the playing field now, it's equal.
So in your head, there is... and I'm not expecting names or companies or
a list. A list.
But there is a list
You'd
in your
be correct.
head.
You'd be correct. There is a list.
And this is
there is a list. But it's not a list that I consciously sit down like, right, today I have to get so and so. No, not at all. Not at all. It's just a list in the back of my head. And when someone, you know, like buzzwords, they're more buzzwords than people's names. It's just buzzwords. Like, I remember so and so or this situation happened and I didn't feel great about it. And now I've corrected that situation. I've got my, you know what I'm saying? I've leveled it. Yeah, you need to equaliser, man. And if you can, you score another one. If you can.
Yeah.
Tell us about the importance then of being independent, not being signed to a record label.
Yeah, for me, very important. But also, I don't want to sit here and tell anyone who's watching or listening that it's essential for you to be, you know, a big artist or make loads of money for you to be independent, because everyone has their path. You might be independent and, you know, it's too hard for you. You might be with a label and it's super easy for you. You know, everyone has their path. For me, I really love, like people understanding that the work that I put in and, you know, getting the flowers for it. That's what I love. So that's the whole essence of being independent, because when I go and produce an album, it might not perform as well as everyone else's album because I don't have a massive label pushing me. Sometimes it does perform. I'm not doubting myself. A lot of the time it does perform as well. But if it doesn't, you know, there's business factors that play into it that people aren't seeing. I don't have the support of a lot of things that people do have within the machine. But the reward is 100 times greater because it's just me on my own. There's no one who can take credit for what I did. I worked, I trained, I rehearsed, I came back from Paris early, I did Glastonbury. You can't take the credit for that.
So for those that don't know about the music industry, what is an artist with a huge label getting that you're not getting, that you're still having to fight and graft and achieve to match up with them?
This day and age, I'm not sure. I'll be honest. I'm not sure. I don't feel like being on a label makes you way stronger at this point. I'll be honest. Like the music industry's changed quite a lot with, you know, TikTok and things like that. If you get a viral, like if you two made a song now and put on TikTok and it went crazy viral, you would genuinely be able to generate a platinum record from that, which I think is very interesting because it takes a lot of the power away from labels, because it means that you can genuinely do it on your own from your bedroom, which is a little bit scary for labels. But I think being independent is like, cool. So if I shoot a music video and it costs 50 grand, that's 50 grand that I would have used to, you know, pay my rent, pay my mortgage, buy my food, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
It's your money.
It's my money, but directly like out of my bank account into the director's account, that's my money. Whereas with a label, you know, you have an advance, they've given you a float of $1 million or whatever they gave you, 800K. You can spend that on studio, you can spend that on outfits, cars, whatever you need to buy to, you know, be an artist. Whereas for me, there's no float. So like I have to do it in real time, if that makes sense. I have to make it and spend it. There's no spending it before I make it because it doesn't exist. It's my money. Yeah.
What do you know what I really like about this, right? I think that a lot of young people particularly are walking around going, there's no opportunities for me. And people often come to me and say, I want to be on the telly, but there's no opportunities to be on the telly. And I say, take the phone out of your pocket and start broadcasting on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever it might be. And I think this is something that's actually really powerful, right? Is that there's more opportunity than ever before.
100%.
If you're willing to put the work in.
Exactly. If you're willing to put the work in, this might be controversial. I don't think it is, but it might be. I think there's opportunities. We live in, honestly, London is one of the greatest cities in the world, especially for opportunities. I've been to New York, been to Tokyo, been to Seoul, been everywhere. They're great cities, but London genuinely for me is the best, specifically for opportunities. There is money everywhere. When people say they can't get a job, I understand that. I do understand that. You know, there's different factors to why you can't get a job. Maybe you don't have the education for a certain job, or maybe wherever you're, you know, it's a pandemic, people aren't hiring. I understand all of that, that's fair. But also, there are things you can do though to be proactive and be chasing whatever it is you want to do in the meantime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're sitting around like, oh, I can't find a job and I'm just going to sit here until one falls in my lap, it's not productive, is it? Like you said, you can pull your phone out, you can start a podcast, you can broadcast on YouTube, you can stream on Twitch. If you game all day, if you play games all day, stream it on Twitch. Why not try and make some money off of it? You know what I'm saying? If you argue with your mate all day, why not argue about football on a podcast? Like there's things you can do to try and tap into the internet and the vast wealth that is on the internet, because it exists.
And I know why you're hesitant to say this, because like we're three people sitting here, you know, we've all got our own houses, and we've all got jobs, and it's easy then for us to go, there's opportunity.
Of course.
But I think as soon as you tell people that there isn't opportunity, then there won't be opportunity.
Exactly.
It's about making them realise that sometimes the box that society is putting them in, telling them, I mean, I grew up in a little village in Norfolk, very different upbringing to yours, but still an upbringing where it was like, well, I'll just work for Bernard Matthews, the local, turkey farm, or get a job at Norwich Union, because those are the two businesses that everyone went to. I just went to the local state school. It was a big deal just to leave Norfolk. It's only when you start having these kinds of conversations, and that's why I want people to hear it, that it's like...
We mean it in a positive way, exactly.
And also not in a kind of making people believe that false things are there for them. But the truth is, the first thing to have is the belief.
Yes.
And then the hard work.
Exactly.
And then let's see.
You won't even get out the gates without belief. If you think there's no opportunities, you genuinely believe there's nothing out there, then you won't even get started. Your car won't start, genuinely. You have to think, okay, cool. Wherever I want to be, let me make a plan of action. I feel like a lot of people nowadays don't make plans of action as well. And also, it is easy for us to sit down and say this with our houses and blah, 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 blah. But also, we went through it, we did it. So it's not speaking of a point of I was born into wealth and I was just, silver spoon in my mouth or whatever. Yeah. I really did graft. And I'm telling people, I was in the same position, or maybe a worse position than some people listening to this. And I made it happen. And it wasn't by luck. There's no luck involved in it. There was numerous opportunities, like you said, where I could have quit and tapped out, and I chose not to. And this is me telling people, you should, in my opinion, never tap out until you feel like you've really done the most you can possibly do in this venture. Then it's fair game to tap out from there. I think that's being logical. But with the opportunities, bro, I completely agree with you. I feel like nowadays there's an opportunity in everything, literally everything. If you're good on computers and you find, a weak spot on someone's website, contact them, tell them, maybe you can work with them. Genuinely, that simple. Not as easy as everyone's going to give you a job, but if that's your passion, I'm sure you can find a way to implement that into, monetizing it.
So how do you keep that balance then between your real passion and the craft of creating music and then all the other things that wrap around it, like the marketing, the promotion, the modelling, and the other ventures that you have?
To be honest with you, it's just, I don't put too much stress on like trying to balance doing more of one than the other. I know I'm a rapper first and foremost, I'm an artist first and foremost, so that's where the majority of my energy goes into. But of course, whenever I have spare time, I pick up new ventures and try to build new avenues that could potentially one day be bigger than the music avenue.
Right.
If I built a uni accommodation, for example, if I built some, that might turn into me building multiple uni accommodations, which might turn into me building all the uni accommodations for the UK. At that point, I would not be making music anymore, I assure you. Like, I love music, but the stress that comes with making music, as opposed to the stress of me being anonymous and building uni accommodation is, quite appealing to me, genuinely.
And I love this because this is big thinking. This is like, I can achieve anything. So let me ask you a question about self-confidence.
Yeah.
And you have to answer this absolutely honestly.
I promise I will.
Okay. How good are you as a musician?
How good am I? Genuinely, on my mum's life, I think I'm the best rapper in the UK. Genuinely. I swear to God. Now,
I'm surprised you said UK.
What I'm going to say to you, the reason why I say UK is because I don't know the competition in the other countries. I listen to American music, of course, but I don't know them. I'm not around them. I know when I'm around everyone, and this isn't a diss to any of you rappers, because I love you guys. But also, I do, of course, think I'm the best. If you don't think you're the best, it's hard for you to reach the optimum level, because you're always going to be like, oh, I'm not as good as so-and-so, but then you're not trying hard enough. There's nothing. When I started making music, I sat and I watched YouTube. I remember I was with my little brother in my bedroom and was watching YouTube, different rappers, their music videos and, performances and stuff. And I was saying to him, I'm better than these guys. Don't you think I'm better than these lot? And he's saying, yeah. But I'm saying, so the only problem is that no one can hear me. The problem isn't the ability. I think I'm better than them. So if they have this career, what's stopping me from having that career or beyond? Nothing's stopping me. But I just need to find a way. That's the thing, right? That's getting out there. So in every, if you want to be, I don't know, man, a race car driver or something, you might think you're good at driving cars, but you need to prove to the right people and get in front of the right people and show them that you're good at driving cars. This is the thing. And that's the hardest part for me personally, because there's rappers probably literally in Ladbroke Grove, because the UK is massive, that might be better than me. Genuinely, they might be better than me, but they might never get the opportunity. That's how life goes. But they need to have the drive. I always say that music genuinely is 20% of being a rapper. I swear to God. It's 20%, because great, you're really good, we're going to listen to you, that's great. But now comes all the other stuff. How you hold yourself in public, how you speak, the topics that you touch on. Do you care about the youth that listen to you? Are you setting a bad example or a good one? Do you cause problems, or do you, quell them. At the end of the day, there's so much other stuff like business acumen. You know, do you invest your money correctly? Which studio do you use? Are you using the right quality, you know, equipment to present yourself correctly? There's so many things. Brand deals. Do you align with certain brands? You know, you align with an alcohol brand. Now, certain families, for example, Muslim families, are not going to buy into you because, you know, obviously Muslims are not compatible with alcohol. It makes sense. You need to think about what you want to do, where you sit in this big, you know, ecosystem, and go for it, double down and apply pressure. And for me, when I meet young artists, I always tell them, like, don't kill yourself before you started, because a lot of things, it's really like hazardous. There's landmines everywhere. You could really like kill yourself before you even started, because you might take a brand deal and what they stand for, everyone dislikes, you know what I'm saying? And then boom, you've killed yourself. No one wants to work with you now. You might say something, you know, out of pocket. You can say something racist, even by accident. You know, you need people around you who are telling you, hey, be careful, bro. Don't say that. That's incorrect. Again, that loops into the friendship circle. You need friends who are going to tell you, bro, don't talk about that, bro. That's incorrect. That's wrong. You shouldn't speak about people like that, or you shouldn't have the idea about that group of people. You need people to tell you that. So for me, I always tell the young artists, listen, sit down before you make the move. Think about the move first. You know, again, with chess, you don't just, I'm going to move this here, move that there. You think about it. What happens? What's the consequences of me moving this piece here? What happens after that? Where do we go? And if they take my piece, what do I do after that? I always think like that. You have to. So
tell us then, like, the 3 questions that you almost ask yourself before you make a decision, because I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm hearing that you're thinking long term.
100%.
You're thinking in terms of authenticity, acting with integrity. Tell us what the... But I'm
3 questions. If I was to break it down into 3 questions, I would say, does this make me happy? Honestly, that's now being older, and I think this is a product of me, you know, obviously earning what I earn and being in a comfortable position. But now my main thing is, does it make me happy? Because if it doesn't, I'm not doing it anymore. I don't have to, so I won't. Right. That's the main thing. Number 1, does it make me happy? Number 2, how does this decision affect me in 6 months' time? What are the possible outcomes of me making this decision in 6 months' time? Because sometimes you don't see the effect until later. Yeah. We know this. You know this is a fact. A new drug might come out, you take it, it's so fun, there's no side effects. In a couple of years' time, you're fucked, you know what I'm saying? So you need to make sure, like, just think about it. You might not know the answer, but at least if you thought about it and, you know, put a little blueprint out, if the eventuality comes that this has put me in an awkward position, this is what I'm going to do to get out of it, or these are the, fine, it's going to help. And the third one, what would I think for the third one? To be honest with you, those are the two main questions. Anything aside from that's just going to be, you know, does it make financial sense? You know, the common questions that you would ask yourself for any business decision. But even financial sense, like, I do a lot of things that don't make financial sense because they make moral sense. You know what I'm saying? It's something I should do. Like I say, again, looping back into things you should do as a human.
Or artistic sense, maybe. I mean, I see a lot of music now made. My wife's very good at this. She's really musical. She goes, oh, another song literally made for TikTok. Or that's a big thing right now. Yeah, that's a big thing right now. You've not gone down that route though. I haven't. But even people would say to me that I'm failing by not going down that route. I don't think I'm failing by not going down that route, because I don't want to do that. So what is your North Star then? Like, what is it? What is success for you? Like, I kind of get the impression that you're a bit like me, really. Like, have you seen Hamilton? Yeah. You know, when he sings, there's a million things I haven't done. Exactly. Oh man. Exactly. But it's true though. It's actually true, because for me, it's like, I'm 28, and, you know, in terms of being a rapper, the lifespan's quite short. It can end whenever. It can end next year. I hope it doesn't, but it can end next year. It can end anytime. Music's quite fickle. People could just get bored of you. And I want to make sure that I have a contingency plan in place for me to live and enjoy the things I currently enjoy, if that should happen, which is what I'm working on. But also, I feel like as a human, I'm much more talented than being in a box of just making music. I feel like, you know, I could design clothing maybe. I'm not a great footballer, but I'd love to kick some football, you know what I'm saying? But maybe being a coach, or maybe being a DOF, like, maybe I have a good eye for being a scout, who knows? That's something I could go into. Like, properties, I'm really good. I've developed a few properties now. I know what I'm doing now. I have an idea. Maybe that's something I go into. Interior design, who knows? Anything. But it doesn't end there. It doesn't end at where you've achieved. It doesn't stop there. There can be loads of other things you can achieve. So us introducing this podcast as a conversation with grime star AJ Tracey, or even a conversation with musician AJ Tracey. In many ways, that's the wrong introduction, right? I mean, I'll be honest, I'm okay with whatever type of introduction, because I like, you know, someone being introduced to a rapper and then you unpeel the layers and there's more than that. I like that. Because if you said, oh, entrepreneur and this and that and maybe you wouldn't be shocked. I like the shock value sometimes. But then let's go to your epitaph then. Imagine that somebody's reading out that eulogy at your funeral. What do you want them to say about you
when when the journey's run?
When the journey's run, let's see. Cocky, but I got the job done. That's me, done. That's it, easy. He was cocky because I am cocky, but he got the job done. That's what it is. I promise you, I'll be cocky, but it's has foundation to it. I'm not cocky for no reason, and I believe that's confidence. But I'll be honest. Sometimes I do take it over into cockiness. Sometimes it happens.
And I love all the collaborations you do with big US artists when a lot of your contemporaries are just working with British artists that they know and they maybe feel more comfortable in that area. Like do you believe there is so much more still to come not from Shay necessarily, but from AJ Tracey? Is this just the beginning?
Definitely, 100%. I feel like even if I go down a different route of being a music manager or whatever it is that I get to at the end, there's definitely way more to come. Definitely way more to come. Things that are going to surprise people. Even the label is the start of like my next venture, you know what I'm saying? Being able to bring youth into the label and, share with them what I've learned and the mistakes I've made and hopefully mold them into like young, sick artists. So that's something I want to do as well, so yeah.
Amazing. We've reached the point in our interview where we just do our quick fire questions at the end.
Let's do it.
What are the 3 non-negotiable behaviours that you and the people around you have to buy into to be part of your circle?
Non-negotiable behaviours. Let's see. I don't like people who talk down on people. Yeah. If someone makes less money than you, or you just think that they're less of a person than you, I don't like people talking down to them. I hate that. That's disgusting. I don't want to be around anyone who does that. Genuinely. When someone goes into like McD's or something and talks down to someone, I really hate that. I want to fight people for that. Genuinely. Second, it's just gonna sound bare random by the way, but these are the ones that come to mind. I don't like people who are horrible to animals. I don't like that. None of that around me. Like, I'll be honest, obviously I wear leather and stuff like that. I'm not a vegan, but I do care about how you treat living things, you know what I'm saying? So that's another one. And the third one, non-negotiable. Gotta respect my mum, man. That's it. She's the OG of the family. You gotta respect her. You respect my mum, then you're good. Everything's cool. Just make sure you respect my mum. I broke out of a girl over that, trust me. She called my mum drunk one time and my mum called me saying, my mum's so like harmless, you know what I'm saying? She called me like, I think she's drunk, don't worry about it, da-da-da. I said, no, mum. I hung up, I called her, I said, do not step foot ever back in my house. That is done. Don't call my mum drunk. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I hold my mum in such high regard. Everyone else around me has to, and as long as they do, then we're all good. That's it.
This is getting away from the quickfire, but...
are you allowed to do that?
Well, we're doing this one, yeah. What does your mum say about your success?
My mum's super proud and chuffed every day at all times, which is, for me, amazing, I'll be honest.
So what's the best bit of advice she's given you then?
The best bit of advice? She's given me all my advice. Everything that I've told you guys, everything I've said to you that made you say that I'm razor sharp is really from my mum, to be honest.
We've got the wrong person on the podcast.
Yeah, literally, no, you do. I promise you, my mum used to be a pirate radio DJ. Yeah. She used to do canoeing at a very high level. Canoeing? Rowing. I might have got that wrong, but one of those two at a very high level.
We'll work out which one it is and we'll edit it. So
edit it. She wanted to be a pilot. She started studying to be a pilot. She's done so many really cool, interesting things. She drove like a big motorbike back in the day. She's from Cardiff, as you know, grew up on like a rough estate. She's the cool one. I'm just here as like a, sidekick.
This one is slightly abstract, isn't it?
Yeah. Where were you?
Yeah.
Where are you? And where are you going?
Cool. Where was I? I was in Ladbroke Grove, chasing a dream, for sure. That's what I was doing. Where am I? I am in a bit safer area of London, but in a very happy space. I'm not content, that's the wrong word, but I'm definitely just happy right now, happy. And I feel like happy is a word that I haven't been able to use that often in my life, because being happy is it's a very vague thing to say, I'm happy. Because you might say to someone, how are you today? And they say, I'm good. But you might be good, like you're cool, but you're not happy though. Happy is, a good feeling. And genuinely right now, I'm quite happy in my life. So that's where I am now. And what was the last one? Where am I going? Yep. Where am I going? That's a really good one. I don't know where I'm going, I'll be honest. I have no idea. There's not like a map, but I've got a compass that's showing me like the right direction, basically.
Nice. One book that you would recommend our listeners read that's had an impact on you?
The Motorcycle Diaries, which is about Che Guevara, who I'm named after. I would advise people read that book. You might like him, you might not like him, you might have your ideas about him or whatever, but I think it's a very interesting book to read. So yeah, my mum will be happy that I said that as well. It's one of her favourite books.
What's your biggest strength and what's your biggest weakness?
My biggest strength is, I genuinely think, caring about people. Sometimes people think I'm a bit soft because I just care about everyone. Like I see someone like going through it and I'll just help them out, and like even if I don't need to or whatever, I just do, because it's just how I feel. And I genuinely feel like all this nice stuff happens to me because I always try my hardest to be nice to everyone else. I genuinely feel like
karma.
That. Yeah, karma, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe in, karma, God, whatever. Yeah. For me, I just try to be a good person. I think that's fundamental to being just a human. And my weakness, did I say my strength, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Because you can see that as a strength or a weakness. I see it as a strength. But my weakness, what would be my weakness? I think sometimes I think on emotion too much. I sound like a logical guy here, but that's just because I'm in a good mood. But sometimes, you know, when you're hungry, what they say? When you're hungry, when you're horny, you shouldn't make decisions. You know what I'm saying? Those kind of things. I think sometimes thinking on impulse is a problem for me. I've ironed it out a bit now. But, you know, I get upset and just be like, maybe my manager says something that I don't like, and I'll be like, oh, don't talk to me for the rest of the day. I'm actually like that. I'm a baby sometimes. I'll be like, oh, don't talk to me. Then later he'll be like, you all right now? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right now. Yeah.
That's because you care.
Yeah, that is because I care. Honestly, it is. They're hand in hand, those two, I'll be honest.
That's what, going back to the failure thing when we talk about the fear of failure. Right? What is your one message to a teenage Shay just starting out?
One message to... It's crazy. I don't want to sound super cocky, honestly. This is one of them cocky ones, but I feel like I was doing everything right. I made mistakes, but they were the correct mistakes. I made mistakes because I was trying to do the right things. So if that makes sense. So there's not much, but I think one of the things I definitely would say is just like, it sounds cliche innit, but just keep going. Because I know a lot of the points in my career, I was like, when I was younger, I was like, oh, this is long, man. Like, this is just, forget this. I might as well just go get a job. You know what I'm saying? I did feel like that a lot of the times. I was at least 95% the way to quitting a lot of the time, honestly. I think I would just say, just keep going. Everyone's got their... Have you seen that picture that everyone loves posting of like a guy mining and he turns around, then the other one hits the diamonds? It's so cliche, innit? But it is true though. Honestly, it is true. Because you could just get that one break and that's it. You're in there. You're in the door. And you can't believe it. You're in the door. You're like, wow, I'm actually here. That's how it happened. That's how it felt with me. It's like, I kept going. And then one day, I was just around like Skepta and all these big rappers that like I look up to. And I was like, wow, I'm in the door. Like, I'm actually here now. It's mad. It really does feel surreal sometimes, like even to just digest the things that I'm doing sometimes. It's nice to have these conversations and like reflect on what it is that I've done. Yeah, man.
And the final question then, Shay, is what's your one golden rule to live a high performance life?
One golden rule, to be honest, again, not to sound, cliche or whatever, but like enough is never enough, I'll be honest. When you tell yourself it's enough, it's actually not enough. Like you get in the gym, I don't know if you guys like the gym, I can see he's been hitting the gym a little bit, yeah. When you get in the gym, it's like, you know when you sit on the bench or whatever you're doing, you lift a dumbbell and it's like, you've done 10 reps and you're like, yeah, that's enough. But it's not enough though, because you physically could get another rep out of your arm. So why not? Why would you not do another rep? Does that make sense? You hit the bench, you're like, cool, I've done 10 reps, but I can get an 11th. And sometimes it's nice, that's why you have these friends, one more time looping back to the friend circle, because you need those friends there to be like, no, you could do another one. I know you got another one. And sometimes you get another one, and you got another one. You know what I'm saying? So when you would have quit at 10, you got 15 out now.
Yep.
But surely you need to keep going anyway until you can't lift anymore.
100%.
We love talk like reframing the idea of failure. Like we think failure is a bad thing, but when you go to the gym with your PT or you
exactly,
to your house
you go to failure. Exactly,
you have to failure. Why?
Exactly,
because you're stronger.
Exactly, you go to failure, and failure was 15 last time, and it's 20 next time. Of course, that's what it is. But it's great when you physically fail because you're like, yeah, I gave it my all. That's everything I got. Yep. I'm good now. I can rest.
Man, listen, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Been a privilege.
What an interesting. That my sort of overriding emotion from this conversation is actually one of optimism, because I just think that optimistic people, right, they expect good things to happen to them.
Yeah.
So therefore, how do they live? They live with optimism. They walk in a room and they think there'll be someone in here that might just change my life.
100%.
So then they have the kinds of conversations that might lead to that. Then that person says, well, come and have a coffee.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
Then you believe someone, like the mindset of optimism.
Bro,
is
I
so
promise
underrated.
you, just one more time to bring it back to football, I promise you that when I was watching Tottenham with my dad when I was little, I never thought I'll be like, one time they brought me into the dressing room with the whole team.
Right.
I kind of almost didn't even want to go in there because it's like, I shouldn't be in there. No one's allowed in there. How am I in there? You know what I'm saying? I walked in, just said, well, I'll go on to the team. I was like, oh, what's up, lads? You all right? Everyone's like, yeah, cool. I was like, how am I in there? You know what I'm saying? But I never thought I'd get to that place, but you can. Of course you can. There's nothing stopping you from. Like Zoo, when he goes and watches Liverpool and he has talks with Henderson and that, he's living his dream and it's nice. There's no reason you can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Again, thanks for having me, lads. It was a great chat. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a thumbs up, leave a review, but somehow get involved with the High Performance Podcast and become part of our growing community. Thanks for being part of the adventure.